Backflow is the issue here at Harvey's Lake, and as you can see behind me, all of this vegetation is invading roughly 60 feet of the dam, which is causing water to backflow back into the lake. The budget here in Haverhill is going to increase by over 13% for next year, which has some taxpayers worried, but some federal grants may come their way to save them some cash. After a late goal, St. Johnsbury Hilltoppers are going to pull off a close one here in St. Johnsbury by a final score of 1-0. The Hilltoppers move on to play their next game Friday against CVU. Today is town meeting day in New Hampshire. Find out what major issues are bringing out Granite State voters to the polls. News 7 starts right now. After a couple of weeks of being delayed, the project here at Harvey's Lake has finally begun. As you can see behind me, crews are starting to remove the sediment that is built up in front of the dam, which is going to relieve the backflow issue.
After a poor showing in Iowa, Republican presidential candidate John Kasich has turned his attention to New Hampshire for Tuesday's presidential primary.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking a real beating because they've spent so much money against us. But we're good. We feel that our people will hang in there, and we think we'll come out of here good. You know, in a really strong position because of our ground game, the town halls, the television, the positive message. We feel very good about it. So.
On Tuesday night, the Ohio governor hosted a town hall meeting at the Common Man Inn in Plymouth, where he discussed his views of several issues, including the economy, the Veterans Association, and immigration.
And for the 11.5 million that came here illegally, if they haven't committed a crime since they've been here, they're going to have to pay a fine, back taxes, they're going to have to do things, and they can have a path to legalization, never to citizenship. We're not going to deport 11.5 million. You know, drive down the street with the truck yelling at people to come out of their house, and their kids are there on the doorstep, and we're hauling. I mean, come on.
Over 100 people stopped in after the Kasich team expected only 40 to show, which could be a good sign for his campaign in the Granite State.
I'm not interested in politics. I'm not interested in partisan behavior. I'm not interested in being a big shot. I'm only doing this for one reason, because I think that I know how to put the teams together with the vision to get the country fixed.
And after an hour and a half, the governor left the audience with one simple message.
Serious problems. Not hard to fix.
Reporting for the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, I'm Michael Raimondi in Plymouth, New Hampshire.
Searcha Johnston McWilliams and her 2-year-old son moved into this home just weeks ago, and now
I don't know how to feel.
there is nothing. When she received the call early this morning,
I was at work and my son was with his grandparents.
she was devastated,
Never thought it would be this.
but with some relief.
I'm just thankful for everybody's support already and just so happy nobody was hurt. That's all that matters.
Happy nobody was hurt, and happy she has a place to go, staying with a friend until she figures out her next move. Reporting for the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, I'm Michael Raimondi in Sheffield. This year's Vermont's Cultural Facility grants have been announced. Recipients include Catamount Film and Art Center in St. Johnsbury, the St. Johnsbury School, and the Peacham School, among many others. All the organizations that have received grants have improved their facilities and provided a wider access to arts and culture in the state. Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy and 3 other Democrats are pushing federal legislation towards requiring labeling of genetically modified foods. This comes after the Senate Agriculture Committee approved a bill that would block their labeling law from taking effect on July 1st. This bill would give 4 labeling options to food companies when selling their products containing genetically modified ingredients. The Lyndonville Police Department has received numerous reports about vehicles running over large rocks on the roads. Police say the incidents may be caused by a person placing rocks in the middle of the street. If anyone has information about the incidents, they are asked to contact the Lyndonville Police Department at 802-626-1271. Vermont State Police have identified one of 2 victims that were killed in a fire that occurred back on February 26th. 58-year-old Jeffrey Dobus's body was identified yesterday in the fire that destroyed a small home near Seymour Lake. Meanwhile, the second victim in this case has not been identified. The Charleston Fire Chief said that this accident is one of the worst the department has seen. News 7's Alexa Richard was on scene minutes after the fire broke out and joins us live from Concord with the latest. Alexa? And now Chris Holtzman joins us with a first look at our forecast. Chris, the mix of sun and clouds today, what can we expect through the rest of the evening? And so for this Sunday, would you call it snuggle weather? Are we going to have to keep our loved ones tight to stay warm?